Ho'oponopono, which I've shared with you before, is an ancient South Seas model of knowing our oneness and healing all of that within us which doesn't know our oneness. And in so doing, healing all that within everyone that doesn't know their oneness. Because when I heal, you heal, because we are one. It's a hard thing. It's a hard thing to know. It's a hard thing to understand. And yet it's also simple. I invite love here. That's all you really need to know. Whatever scares you, whatever makes you mad, whatever makes you worry, whatever makes you frustrated, whatever makes you angry, whatever makes you impatient, whatever makes you despair, invite love here. Wherever that place is, invite love in. Anything that you've labeled as wrong, invite love there. It's the only way to heal. Your love, your love, your love, your love, your love. Not some esoteric idea of love somewhere out there, but the love you hold in your own heart, which is the love that everyone else holds. And that we know with different levels of understanding and skill is there. Some of us don't recognize it at all. Some of us have never truly allowed ourselves to see love. We're never given love, and so we don't even know what it's supposed to look like or feel like. That makes it very hard to invite love in if we don't truly believe in it or believe in its power. But for all of those who have experienced a single moment of love, you now know what it looks like. You now know what it feels like. And you can invite it in. You get to. The choice is yours, always. And you know you have a choice whenever the words, well, if he hadn't, or they, that is your choice point, always. I invite love here. I invite love here. So as she says, thank you, forgive me, I'm sorry, thank you, I love you. Or the way I tend to say it is, I love you. Starting with that. Invite love. I love you, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. Thank you, because why wouldn't I thank you for bringing me back to love? For letting me see the truth that love is my choice always. So as she says in the song, thank you for helping me see. Thank you for what you reveal. Because you reveal the part of me that is believing in false things. When I get angry with you, you reveal to me the part of me that thinks I'm not you. You reveal to me the part of me that thinks that I'm just drifting alone out here in this world. And you give me the opportunity to say, I'm sorry for carrying that belief. I acknowledge that by carrying the belief that I am separate from you, I'm creating karma right and left. It's not about blame. It's about awareness. And when you get it, the invitation is to use it. So thank you for that awareness. Thank you for showing your face. Thank you for showing your face. Do you ever have anybody who, the moment you see their face, everything in you wants to turn and run? Or pick up a machine gun? Or throw water balloons? What if you were to transform that moment into, thank you, because your face challenged my peace. Your face took me to a place that was not even mine to go. So thank you for showing me that, because now I have the opportunity to heal it. I have the opportunity to release those false beliefs. Until I realize that I'm carrying false beliefs, I don't have much opportunity to release them. So thank you for making it very You just have to be willing to invite love in. I invite love in. I realize when I see your face that I'm having a really hard time knowing the love that I am. So I'm going to invite love in. I'm going to invite love in. Because if I don't know the love that I am, it's not just my reaction to the person or the group or the whatever that makes my blood boil. I carry that with me everywhere. I carry that belief that I'm separate from grace. That grace is something that's given to me or not according to the whim of something besides myself. I don't have to believe that. Thank you for challenging my peace so I can release this notion that I am separate. This notion that I am powerless. Am I powerful as in I can control the events of the world? No, I don't believe that, for myself anyway, but I will tell you that I believe that I have the power to give love to any situation, anytime, and that power is the most transformative thing I can do, even if I don't see the results immediately. I usually can see the results in me right away. So the moment I change even one iota, the moment I make a shift toward love, I am shifting the one toward knowing the love that we are, because we are one. I can't decide what others' choices are. I can't. And any time that I spend thinking, well, I don't know why you're not inviting love, you're a lot less loving than I am, is time wasted. Is time creating karma. Is time continuing to harm myself and others. And so when I say, hey, I don't know why you're doing what you're doing, and I know there's that human part of me that really wishes with all my heart that you wouldn't, I'm going to invite love here. Because in the outside world, I don't have any power over you. I have no control over you. Even if I shoot you with a gun, I don't have control over you. I only have control if I control myself. And the only control over myself that I want, that will be of any use, any good in the world, is to invite love in. And according to your belief, you can invite Jesus into the situation. You can invite God into the situation. It doesn't matter what name you call it, but know that it is love. There's no out there. Y'all, there's literally no out there. There's no out there. When I see you, I'm not seeing you. When I see you, the eyes of my body are taking in a coded message, which then goes into my brain, and my brain decodes it into something that becomes a thought for me. What I'm seeing is my own thought. I want you to take that in for a minute. What you're seeing is your own thought. So, what can you change? Your own thought. And that's what changes. And the rest of it is not my business. The rest of it's not my business. I invite love here. There's no out there. The images are in me. Everything I touch, everything I hear, everything I taste, everything I smell, everything I think, that is all in here. It's all in here. I may fool myself that it's you. And by fooling myself that it's you, I live in separation and cause myself greater pain and harm. And since all harm is at the level of mind, all healing is at the level of mind. The dissonance is that we say we believe in oneness, or we say we believe in God, or we say we believe in love, but we try to pick up all these tools that aren't oneness, aren't God, aren't love, thinking that somehow they're going to lead us to the thing we say we believe in. The only tool that brings us to love is love. The only tool that brings us to God is inviting God, is recognizing God. It's not like God's somewhere and you have to invite it in. The only thing you have to invite it to is your own mind and heart. You have to open yourself to the truth that already lives there. Because that's in there too. It doesn't come from anywhere outside of you. You get to open yourself to the truth. This is who I am. Forgive all my ancestors too. Forgive all my ancestors. Forgive the DNA that I carry of all of the people who have thought they were separate, that I am now playing out unconsciously until the moment that I make the conscious choice to bring love. And I love how she said, however this began, forgive us if you can. Forgive us, for we know not what we do. Jesus spoke those words. Forgive them, they know not what they do. And the reason he said them is because he knew that he was holding love, but that he had no power for anyone else to hold love. So he held that oneness by saying, forgive. Forgive. And when you truly forgive, you suddenly realize there's nothing to forgive. They don't know what they're doing. Do you get mad at a dog for running across the road when you're driving? It doesn't know what it's doing. It just knows that it wants to get from here to there. Well, y'all, dog mind is more advanced than most human mind. Dog mind is at least clear and one-pointed. We tend, as humans, to have a million focuses even when we think we have one. So there's no blame. Forgive us, for we know not what we do. So Dr. Hugh Lin is a doctor. He's a trained psychologist in Hawaii, and this technique that he learned not from his psychological training, but from his spiritual training with his elders, he brought sort of to the Western world in a way that it hadn't been clear before. And the way he did it is by someone telling his extraordinary story. And very shortly, his extraordinary story is this. There was a hospital for the criminally insane in Hawaii, and it housed three kinds of people. People who had done heinous, horrible things to other people, and were either convicted, found guilty, but insane, and went to this hospital for the criminally insane rather than to prison, or had been found not guilty by reason of insanity and were sent to this hospital, or had been, or were in the hospital perhaps for real and perhaps in a manipulative way, trying to gain evidence to prove to the court that they were insane for what they'd done. And they were violent. And the history of this hospital, very briefly, is that the building was falling apart. They couldn't keep people there. They couldn't keep doctors or nurses or social workers or orderlies because people were attacked on a regular basis. Because the staff was attacked on a regular basis, the inmates were constantly in isolation, and when they had to go from one place to another, they were shackled hands and feet. And even yet, the doctors and nurses, and I read this from a report from the social worker, would walk down the hallway with their backs to the wall, just so they could keep an eye out on all sides and not be jumped from behind. And people were regularly injured, inmate to inmate, inmate to employee. It happened on a pretty regular basis. And there was drug abuse, and there was a lot of corruption in the employees because they couldn't be that picky about who they hired because they couldn't keep anybody, and then even worse stuff went on. And Dr. Hewlin was hired, and he was hired as a psychologist, and he thought, I'm going to do my psychological work, but because of the way that he lived, having been using this technique his whole life, he did not make plans. He responds to intuition in every new moment rather than making plans. And so his intuition when he got there was, I don't get any intuition that I'm supposed to see these patients and counsel with them. I get this intuition that I just need to love them. And the way he did it was to say, I love you, I'm sorry. And he read their files so he could become familiar with these people, but he didn't dwell on their crimes. He just wanted to know, okay, that's who that guy is, so that he could recognize him in the hallway. And when he walked down the hallway, he would also, not only while he was reading the file or in his office, he would walk down the hallway and just silently in his mind saying, I love you, 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 I'm sorry. Please forgive me, thank you. I love you. And what happened in less than 9 months' time, and it's interesting reading the different people's views of what happened, because I read a social worker's view and I read a view of another worker there and Dr. Hewlin's view himself, which was that nobody really had a timeline for what happened, other than that at the end of 9 months, what had gradually happened is that no one was walking around in shackles anymore because nobody was being violent. That although they had been confined to their quarters for literally years, they were now doing car washes and bake sales and playing baseball safely. Not only interacting with each other safely, but interacting with the public safely. That when they had trouble keeping employees, now suddenly they had too many employees because they kept losing the inmates because they would be declared healed. They were no longer violent, and they were released. And this happened so gradually. And it's funny, one social worker talked about one man that was sort of the personification of evil in her mind. That before she knew him, had met him, or knew anything about him, the first time she saw him, the hair on the back of her neck stood up. And she did everything she could to avoid him. And then later she learned of some really horrible crimes he had committed. And so she kept her distance. And then, without noticing it, you know how things happen gradually, and one day you go, wait a minute, how'd that happen? And she was walking down the hall, and he was walking closely enough to her that he actually accidentally brushed her shoulder as he went by. And she realized, not only did the hair on the back of my neck not stand up, I had no emotional reaction to him at all. It was just a guy walking down the hall. And this particular guy did go to court. And when he got to court, he released his attorneys and he said, Judge, I am guilty of these crimes. I'm sorry. I have great remorse. I didn't know what I was doing, and I'm guilty and I'm sorry. So I'm ready for my punishment. And he was sent to life in prison. But he was willing because he understood who he was, and he understood that life in prison wasn't the end of the world, but living a life of untruth and dishonesty and lack of love was the worst thing that could happen. Y'all, that's transformation. That's dramatic transformation. And I don't know how to do that. And Dr. Hewlin himself says very humbly, well, I didn't know how to do that either. That was my guidance, so I did it. And that's what happened. Not trying to tell you how it happened. I'm just saying, that was my guidance. That's what I did. That's what happened. He loved them. He brought them into the family of his heart. He thought consciously, you are my family. And I love you, and I'm so sorry for whatever I or my ancestors or anyone else has done that contributes to this. Because you know what, guys? Our consciousness contributes to everything that happens. Everything in this world is the mirror that reflects what's in here. The violence in the world reflects the violence that's already in here. The violence in here comes from not knowing love. So if you want to heal the violence of the world, it's not about shooting it down or locking it up. I'm not saying that for safety in the world, there aren't people who need to be away from other people for the safety of all concerned. I'm not saying that, but what I'm saying is if we want to heal it on a deep level, we can't do it at the level of result, we have to do it at the level of cause. The level of cause is we need more love. Not more love, there's already plenty of love, but we're not letting it in. First, we have to let it into ourselves. And then we will feel empowered to use it. Because we'll know that there's no such thing as a lack of love. There's no such thing as running out. There's no such thing as not enough. And I would say that probably everybody that you're mad at right now, politically, family-wise, in your neighborhood, everybody way that just makes your skin crawl is somebody who doesn't really know the love that they are and the love that is here for them. And when you don't know love, you believe in lack. You believe if you have it, I can't have it. And then you start trying to make sure you have it so that other people can't take it away from you. It's all about a lack of love. So if you want to change the world, I'm not saying don't get out there and do practical things in the outside world. That helps. But done without love, I don't know that it does help. And even if you are confined to a bed as a quadriplegic, I believe you can make a difference in the world by concentrating your loving energy in every way you can, at every moment that you can. And Dr. Hewlin calls this the zero state. Love or God, he calls it the zero state because there are zero limits. There's only what is, which is love and God, and there's none of the stuff that we made up. And if you want to get to that state of perfect love, you just let go of everything else. You give love to it, you invite it in, you say, I'm sorry that I brought you into this situation, you thing that doesn't look like love. I know I made you up. I know I inherited you. I know I'm part of what made you up. And so I release you. I bring love here. And are you apologizing to the person that's making you mad? I mean, you could. I think that works. But really, you're apologizing to yourself. To yourself for ever having a moment of not knowing how wonderful and unique and perfect and loving and loved you are. That's the reason we're all still walking around here in these bodies, I believe. Because we don't know yet the love that we are. And if you want to move forward the evolution of man, take time every day to know the love that you are. That you are. And do your best to share it with everyone else. This is a technique for doing that. There are other techniques for doing that. But what I'd like to do is issue you a challenge, because we've got a couple of months in front of us that are hard. We've been living in some hard months. We're going to continue to living in months that are hard on the human level. And it's so easy for us to look for something to blame for a reason that it's wrong because they're not doing what they're supposed to do, and I would be fine if everybody else just did. I'm going to challenge you. Let's say until the day of our burning bowl, until the day that we ceremonially let go of the year past and greet the new year. Every day, morning, night, and at any time that you think of it during the day, but when you rise in the morning, forgive me, I'm sorry, I love you, I'm sorry, forgive me, thank you. There's the thank you. Why wouldn't you thank anybody or anything that reminds you of the love that you are? I love you, I'm sorry, forgive me, thank you. I love you, I'm sorry, forgive me, thank you. I love you, I'm sorry, forgive me, please forgive me, thank you. Do it every time that you think of it. Start letting the times that you feel out of sorts or angry or fearful be a cue to you to invite love in. You know, the shorthand for that could just be, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you. I gotta say that right after I was really sort of writing down the outline of the meat of this sermon, and I took a walk with my husband and I was explaining to him, it's like, I'm gonna explain it this way, does this make sense to you? And we were having a nice, lovely walk together. And then we got back home, and I was tired, and I was unloading the dishwasher, and he had a bunch of spoons that were stuck together in the clean dishwasher because he hadn't rinsed them beforehand, and he let them spoon up with each other. And I snatched those spoons out of the dishwasher, and I threw them in the sink. And I said, forgive me, I'm sorry, I love you. Forgive me, I'm sorry, I love you. Thank you, forgive me, I'm sorry, I love you. Thank you, I love you. I'm sorry, please forgive me. Thank you. I wasn't necessarily saying it to him. I was saying it because I didn't like the state of mind that I got into. And I'll be honest, it took me a while. And thinking about this intellectually did not make me ascend that day beyond my irritation at what had gone on in the dishwasher. Only because for 30 years I've said, rinse the spoons and for God's sake don't let them nestle with each other because they won't get clean. Forgive me. I'm sorry. I love you. Thank you. And my thank you was to him because, man, those spoons hadn't been in there. I might not have known how angry, how easy it was to throw me off my very loving idea. But I remembered in that moment, and it worked. It worked. At least I didn't scream and yell at him and drill it home. I got an understanding that this is about me. He probably is never going to not nestle those spoons, and he's never going to rinse anything unless I'm standing over him and making it rinse it. And is it really the dishwasher that's activating my anger? Or is it all the parts of me that don't feel healed? All the parts of me that are worried and scared? And so I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. It was to myself. It was to God. It was to the universe. It was to love itself. It was to the oneness that we are. And I believe that it works. And I challenge you to do it with me. I'm going to do it with you too. And we're going to talk about it after New Year's Day. And you're going to report to me what difference it made in your life. I was doing it with my dog the other day. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me for having to clean up this pee. Thank you. I love you. I'm going to use it on her every day, and I'm going to see if it makes her more loving. Challenge yourself. What could it hurt? You get to be reminded of love as many times a day as you're willing to. And I love you because you are the divine and we are one. There is no other. I'm sorry for whatever part I have in creating this world that we forget that we're one. Forgive me for blaming anything out there. Forgive me for thinking it's real, that it was someone outside of me. Forgive me for judging and for basing my actions and words in the world on a false belief. And thank you for helping me see this truth. Amen. I want to take that into meditation. We're going to make it a short one because I talked a long time. Go figure. I do that. So I'm just going to invite you to nestle down wherever you are. Get comfortable in your body, in your chair, wherever you are. Close your eyes if you're comfortable, or maybe soften your focus. And let your eyes feel soft in your head. And consciously relax any tension that's in your jaw. And let your shoulders down. Breathe deeply. And allow any of the tension in your ribcage or your belly to just to go on the out-breath. You are safe, you are loved, you are cherished. You are safe because you are the eternal one that never began and can never end. And if you ever begin to feel unsafe, you can simply say to yourself, that is my fear for my body because I think that's who I am. I invite love here. Invite love into my thinking. I invite love into my heart. I invite love into my words and into my actions and activities in the world. And I'm able to do this because I remind myself that what I see with the eyes of my body is not the truth. Love is the truth. It's the truth of me. It's the truth of you. It's the truth of everyone. And somehow, however this began, we forgot. And we started using the words mine, I, me, and yours, you. So let's just breathe through that. No mine or yours, only us, only one. What harms me harms you, what harms you harms me. The love I feel, the love I share, the love I allow, the love I let in, and the love that I'm willing to give out is what heals me. And when I heal myself, I allow healing for all of us. We are one love. One spirit, one power, one presence, one love. I love you. For all the ways that I failed to do that, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I